Hi again, everyone. As you know, our first paper was based on personal experience and focused on concrete details. Because we discussed an important day in our life and the paper was written as a personal narrative, it included a discussion of our feelings and possibly evoked feelings in our readers. And we used informal language to help us establish a personal relationship with our readers. Now we're going to build on those skills in writing paper 2. Paper 2 will also be based on personal experiences and observations and will focus on concrete details. But Paper 2 is a comparative analysis written as a formal academic paper. We will avoid discussing our feelings and preferences. Instead, we will attempt to be objective in drawing a comparison. Because it is a formal academic paper, we will also use a formal voice, which our textbook calls high style. Let's take a look at some of the important aspects of Paper 2 that will help us prepare to write formal academic papers for other courses. In writing Paper 1, we worked on developing our paper with specific concrete details. Using specific concrete information is important in all forms of academic writing, and we will continue to sharpen those skills throughout the semester. Academic writing begins with analysis. Even when working on papers that are mainly synthesis, we begin by conducting a thorough analysis of our subject and any research we need to conduct. Paper 2 focuses solely on analysis to help us learn this important skill. Except for some forms of persuasive writing, academic writing maintains objectivity. Writers do not express their personal views of the material presented and avoid expressing any preferences or biases about the outcome of their research. We will begin learning how to use that skill by avoiding anything that would indicate that we find one person, place, or thing we discuss preferable in any way to the other. We must avoid indicating that one person, place, or thing is better than the other, or that we like one person, place, or thing more than the other. We are simply presenting an informative comparison, not an evaluation. Also in academic writing, information is presented in a formal voice, which our textbook calls high style. We will avoid using first or second person pronouns, contractions, informal language, slang, or cliches except in direct quotes, and direct quotes will be very, very rare in these papers. In fact, most papers will be free of direct quotes. Let's turn now to some of the writing skills we will develop while working on Paper 2. The skills we learned while working on Paper 1 continue to be important. Although we will not submit idea-generating pre-writing for a grade, we will continue to use it to plan our paper and to help us as we draft and revise. We will compose and submit a scratch outline as we did while we worked on Paper 1, and continue to work on improving our use of MLA paper format. We will, of course, continue to work on improving wording, which is a lifelong learning process, and we will learn to use more formal wording, which is appropriate in the academic papers you will write for other courses. Most formal academic papers include a thesis statement, and a thesis statement is required for papers 2, 3, and 4 in this course. We will learn how to write and use good thesis statements as we work on Paper 2. As discussed in the Paper 2 assignment sheet, many papers that you will write in college will compare 2 or more subjects, and even in other papers you might find it necessary to write individual paragraphs that draw comparisons. There are 2 ways to organize comparisons that help readers understand your points. While only one of them is appropriate for Paper 2, we will learn both organizational styles. One of the most noticeable differences between Paper 1 and the rest of the papers for this course, including Paper 2, is that Papers 2, 3, and 4 will be written in a formal academic style, which our textbook calls high style. Except in direct quotes, which are rare in formal academic papers, formal academic style, or high style, is different in many ways from the informal style we used in writing Paper 1. Except in direct quotes, and most papers for this assignment should not have any direct quotes, we will not use any first-person pronouns. First-person pronouns are pronouns that we use to refer to ourselves, such as I, me, my, we, our, mine, and ours. Writers avoid referring to themselves or including themselves in any group discussed as a method of maintaining objectivity. Except in direct quotes, academic writing also does not use second-person pronouns, such as you, your, and yours. This rule actually makes a lot of sense if we remember that in written works, second-person pronouns refer to the reader, not to people in general. If we keep this in mind, we see that second-person pronouns are not usually appropriate because we cannot predict what is true about any individual reader. For example, even a simple sentence such as, "you have to eat," is inappropriate because it isn't always true. Some readers might use feeding tubes because of health reasons, and those readers don't need to eat. Now, whether you can come up with an instance in which using second-person pronouns is accurate or not, the rule is that writers don't use second-person pronouns in academic writing, so don't use them in papers 2, 3, or 4 except in direct quotes. Contractions are not used in academic writing either because academic writing is formal and contractions are informal language. But contractions are not the only type of informal language we need to avoid in academic writing. We should avoid any kind of language that is at all informal, as well as slang and cliches. We should strive toward using a very formal style and voice and sophisticated, elegant language. Now, formal academic writing takes practice, but by the time you revise papers for portfolio, you will have written 3 initial submission drafts in formal academic style. I think that introduces some of the most important concepts we will study while working on Paper 2, and I hope you see how we are beginning with concepts we learned while writing Paper 1 and simply adding new skills to those we've already learned. If you have any questions about this video or about anything in the course, all you need to do is email me through Canvas. I always want to help you any way that I can. Thanks so much for studying this video. I hope it helps.